Hi, welcome to my video for Until the Bitter End game number 2. In this video I'm going to talk about the components of the game, just to illustrate actually what you get in the game. Now this is a print and play game, so you will need to print out all the different counter sheets and map. There aren't too many, there's about 4 counter sheets and a few maps, plus the rules if you want. And in this example here I've printed them out. I've mounted them to card. I've mounted them to quite thick, sort of sturdy card because I use this for all my playtesting as well. But you can mount it to any sort of card that you want. A thinner card, serial card or anything like that would be absolutely fine. But I've chosen for a pretty nice thick card because this game gets my versions of the games get played so much. So let's start off with the infantry counters. The game features the American Airborne against the German infantry, and there are 10 American Airborne counters. Each counter has a number on them, 1 through to 10. I'll do a separate video of what all the numbers mean on the counters, and you get again the same but for the Germans, so 10 German counters and 10 American Airborne counters. In addition to that, you get a variety of counters that are mostly used in combat. These are some examples. There's an advanced counter there, a jammed counter, suppress, wounded, snap fire and heads down, and they are mostly used in combat. And again, I'll cover those, how those counters work in the future videos, mostly around combat as I've described, and with probably the exception of the bravery points. And again, I'll do a separate video for how bravery points work. The map itself is a one-piece map. You can print it out in one piece if you want, and I do provide digital files for a 2-piece map. So if you've got a home printer and you want to do it at home, you can just print out sort of half and half and then mount it together. Again, I've used a fairly sturdy card stock, a thickness of card, because again it gets played so much. And there are 2 maps in the game. I'll show you the other map at the end of this video. You get a turn counter with turns 1 through to 6. And finally, but not by any way means least, you get the chit counters, pull chit counters, and there are 10 of these, 10 for the Allies, 10 for the Germans, and you put them into a cup and blindly pull them every turn to see whose go it is. And again, I'll show that in actually how the gameplay works, but you get enough counters for all the 10 different infantry counters. Now most missions, that's how most missions work. Some missions actually have more pull counters per side than the other side, but generally speaking, 1 pull counter per infantry counter, and that's that's pretty much the basic game. In addition to the maps and the counters you see here, I've put quite a few extra maps in for stretch goals for the Kickstarter. I'm very keen to do quite a few more maps for this game, so I put them as fairly low stretch goals. So this is the second map in the game that I've done, and this map features a sort of trodden path through a forest for the Airborne. In the mission, one of the missions that this map features in, the Airborne get ambushed as they're working their way through the forest. And in this example here, I've only put 3 counters per side, and that's just to illustrate that the game, whilst it has 10 infantry counters per side, doesn't use all those for every scenario. Some of the scenarios only feature a few different counters, and not the full 10, and some do feature all 10 per side. It's probably worth pointing out on this map example the different types of terrain. So we have trees or foliage, undergrowth, clear hexes, like these ones here, and then this sort of path hex as well. So there are a variety of different terrain types in the hex, but I've illustrated the map carefully so it's very clear what the contents of the actual individual hexes are. Both these maps and all the artwork I've hand drawn myself, completely from scratch. This game does feature quite a few new pieces of artwork that I've done for it, whole new maps, plus some of the existing counters. Here's a Snapfire one. They're the same counters as the first game, so if you do have the first game, you don't probably have to print those out and mount them again. Conversely, this game is completely standalone, so if you didn't have the first game or didn't play the first game, you don't need to. The game comes complete with all the rules and counters and scenarios, player aids that you need to play. Thank you for watching.